And it's the weirdest thing. It's like, I noticed one like consistent pattern that I noticed throughout the years is that I guess, is common sense is not so common in this world. Especially when it comes to people that's trying to frame you and things, out of jealousy for your talent and for your skill and things. And so, all together, you got to understand from, like, it's been one long situation, like the whole time from age 4 all the way to now. It's been one long situation. You know what I'm saying? It's not divided up. Like, it don't just start when, a framing. It don't just begin when a framing or, something that they concoct or fabricate that's already been foreshadowed, and already exposed in advance. It don't just something that just become that until, it don't just, like, the situation ain't just starting just because, somebody lying or, trying to, like, facilitate the frame or try to, like, things that's already been exposed and prevented utterly by the testimony. And so, actually, it's like, it's so throughout these, throughout all this, recently I've been bringing a whole lot of light on the concept of, the fragments of my life. Well, or just the spiritual purpose, that God had. So, I've watched throughout the years, these people, persecutors, they seem very clearly, the fullness of God's plan. That every time they seen aspects of it, instead of trying to make that, like, better work or trying to, like, facilitate the goodness of it, instead they always do the opposite. They always try to eat it up. They always try to turn it down. But they do it more savagely the less people know about it. You know what I'm saying? And that's a consistent thing I noticed throughout all these years. And these people are absolutely merciless, man. They want full control of every ideal concept of talented individual in the world. They want to be able to say that they have something to do with it. And with me, it's just not the case. You know what I'm saying? Totally contrary to them. And so, they seen everything, man. From the fragments where God showed my identity in society, to people, to, like, friendships I was supposed to have, friendships that there is, like, that deal of, creative chemistry. Like, it's not much, it's not many at all. Like, it's, like, it's very, very select few that I would even consider, like, on a level morally to where I would, I would had, felt like I could, like, do projects with and things like that. And, but that's, and that's, like, just with the, exception of the long-standing, all these, this long-standing persecutory campaign. And so they know all of that all the way to, my wife and, just things that God had already put in motion and set up. So when they knew that, when they found out, it's not real hard, to understand. Like, this God made it very clear because it was supposed to be a glorious thing, like something that people rejoiced in instead of eating it up and beat it to heck. You know what I'm saying? But that's what they did instead. So God already knew they would, though. So he already made preparations in case they did, which they did. So God's going to do what he going to do in the future because of this. So, yeah, it's savage. They seen a baby and they ate up everything for the baby. A child of God, they ate everything up. Like, they ramshack all the everything. You know what I'm saying? They attack the remnants of, like, they just, everything, every aspect about your life, character, everything, So, when they see, on top of all the character assassinations, all this stuff they already said in past year that been disproven false, they attack, they try to find a nitpick, with every little aspect of your life, in addition to everything that's already been proved. And they know personally that I don't have nothing to hide in my life. But it's, just the principle of the situation of them, invading on my life under false pretenses, using lies that I don't even know about, slandering me without my knowledge, and trying to conform my life into these preset secretive framings and things that they create and know better, but they create them out of falsely, and they use it, and that's called framing. You know what I'm saying? They do all this, and they do this nonstop. While meanwhile, so I live life according to what I know the truth is about myself and everything I do. So I don't reverence, their crime. I shouldn't have to. You know what I'm saying? They already been proven as fraudulent. And so I don't edit my life to incorporate anything. But, and it's a lot of parts of, like we see society and, like the characteristics of a person, from everything to their emotional, their emotional makeup, emotional state, like how they feel emotionally, to they libido, or however you pronounce it. These are things that they lie on. It's like, it's the weirdest thing. Like, they literally make war against every facet of a person's life, and they twist it up to try to antagonize them in order to manipulate them or use them. The problem is, as for everything that's been disproven, they really don't have much resistance, but it's mainly because of what it was allowed to snowball into. God made me, God gave me tons of talent. Like, I have so much talent, especially, in my craft, my literary, I got tons of, I'm mannerable, I got, manners, morals, charisma, I'm good at speaking, it's just, God gave me a lot of different talents, you know what I'm saying? And for which I use all to glorify. Now, because of, the gravity of this long-standing hate, jealousy-based crime since I was the age of 3 or 4, all the way up to now, because of this, it really injured and damaged and sabotaged the trajectory of my life, for all the course of those years, all the way to now. So it's not nothing like what God had, purposed it for originally, but it's not something that was totally a loss or a fail, because God still reworked it there. I still was able to make a positive impact, even using the persecution, like what you see. When a life without the persecution, things would have been a lot more extravagant, not just for me, but for society and those that cared about God in the earth, but unfortunately that's a plan that's gone. So with that plan that's gone was also a lot of relationships, like as far as like, friendships or business, I'm saying? I'm talking about like real stuff, you feel me? I ain't talking about no staged, staged interactions and connections and things that somebody had did in advance, to a child and things, stage scenarios, it ain't none of that. I'm talking about like, substantial situations to where that could have been used to glorify, facilitate larger and wider purposes of God. They sabotage, like this whole thing, it threw everything in the trash, like pretty much. That also with like far as like romance and things like that, it was a certain trajectory God also had my life on, just because of the gravity, the magnitude of the attack I'm under, even secretly, while they continue, like, to pick and try to pick my life apart, falsely, just to try to, like, either immortalize, a memory of artificial, clones and copies and things like that. That's pretty much what they're doing. And if they can't do that, then they rage war on everything and everybody. Because they can't handle being wrong, and they can't handle being seen for what they really are, liars and haters. They want to be seen royalty and things. They're not that, though. Everything they done and did is contrary to what authenticity is. Throughout all these years, even secretly, things. So, yeah, so, God made me to be a blessing. You know, I would be a blessing in all facets of my life, from my wife to, you know, any children I could have had, or to my friends. You know, I would have been a blessing. You feel me? And so I still got my talent. You know what I'm saying? Like, as far as like my literary talent and everything, and I'm still me who I am. You know what I'm saying? So I was supposed to be, you know what I'm saying, a blessing. I would have been a blessing, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, for, you know, whatever corresponding, you know, type of reality that I was needed for. And so, I mean, it's common sense things, you know, like, it's like, unfortunately, you know, I can't, you know what I'm saying, I can't, because of what's happened to me, I'm more, you know what I'm saying, like, it's more, it's like a lot of things a lot of concepts I just literally don't have interest in. My main focus be on glorifying God with my art. That's basically it. And helping others in that way, and you know, in more ways, building more, you know, different types of reality art, showing people, you know, the remnants and the fragments of what God's original thing was for my life, because that's the most important thing to my life, because I don't have nothing else but, you know what I'm saying, just the reality that I live in. Because of what happened to me, a lot of things sabotage, and it could never happen, you know what I'm saying, like it was supposed to. And so, I mean, they wonder, you know, like, they look and they stalk you, and then, you know, they try to find a nitpick with everything. I mean, the bottom line is, you know what I'm saying, like, when it comes to like they try to use, you know, they always like the generation is perverted. You feel me? First of all, it's perverted. Yeah, it's been for a long time. You know what I'm saying? But that's because that's what they want. You feel me? They want to think like, you know what I'm saying? They want to twist things up because that's how they are on the inside. You feel me? That's all that their minds, that's all that their life consists of. You know what I'm saying? You know, while God functions in decency and order. So God knows that, you know, I mean, just as with just as with copulation and things like that, that's for the substance of, you know, a husband and a wife. You know what I'm saying? It's not for, you know what I'm saying, sexual immorality and being all, you know what I'm saying, with all these different people and things like that. But that's what they love and embrace. And the Bible says the things that's shameful gonna be the things that's, you know what I'm saying, pretty much smiled upon. And that's what it is. And so they, you know, so me personally, I would have been a blessing for my wife. But, you know what I'm saying, it's how what they did and what they've actually, I watched them see what they was doing, why they was doing it. You know what I'm saying? So they know in detail that, you know, because, you know, they try to separate you from, you know, the things that love you, and then try to take away the things you love. And that's why they keep eyes on you, to be able to continue to isolate you like that. And then they lie on you to facilitate that thing. And then to keep able to keep stalking you under false pretense, and to assimilate material of your original aesthetics and things and bits and pieces, distributing it here and there to certain people at certain times, while they allow a huge following gathering or whatever entities to stalk your life in order to facilitate that. So, I mean, it's an act of crime, and they very slick about it. You know, they are Antichrist Babylon. You know, trust me, God. I mean, even when Eli out the earth, you feel me? Is that just beginning for them? They don't really not understanding that. Well, God see everything they've been doing for the past 23 years. You feel me? All the way up to this very second, just their presence in my life under these pretenses at this very second is confirmation that what's Babylon and what's Antichrist. You know what I'm saying? It's just confirmation for it. You know, it should have been long impossible. You know, it should have been like a massive type of initiative or something that was already launched, you know, 7 years ago already. You know what I'm saying? But it wasn't. So, I mean, what can you say? But, I mean, for those that's not, you know, my friends, and those who I would never program with, you know, those that know I'm not interested in no kind of like into anything, to those that's not my wife, you feel me? To those that's, you know what I'm saying, that just have nothing to do with my life and reality, then, you know, it's like, why are you here? You know what I'm saying? You feel me? Like, why, you know what I'm saying? They always looking for reasons to add insult to injury. they try to like, the trauma that they created by intentionally inflicting your life for all these years, they also use that to further, you know what I'm saying, exploit your weaknesses, you know what I'm saying, by continuing to intentionally inflict you and do things to your life that you don't deserve, with evidence, proof, and everything Bible that you don't deserve it, in order to, you know what I'm saying, further injure you on the false pretenses. And then it's pretty much like, you might as well say that these like jealous, influential figures are the law. You feel me? You might as well say that. Like they can they're doing things that they can, you know what I'm saying, they lie and all that, you know, they are pretty much the law. You know what I'm saying? They, like, the lands don't have any power unless it's through these jealous, influential figures. So if you're an extremely talented individual that just so happen to be more talented than their the ones they idolize, imagine what that means to you, for you, you know? Think about it. I mean, the only thing I ain't threatening nothing but a lawsuit. You feel me? I'm threatening massive lawsuits. You know, to you know, these jealous entities and stuff. So I mean, that's the only thing I'm threatening, lawsuits. So they should feel very threatened about that, because yes, I mean it. You know, I mean, I tried many times already. You know, always stonewall. I mean, what? Something ain't right, man. They hate God. They hate God. Clearly. You know, they hate God, they hate Jesus. So I mean, but that's the situation. It's like they sit there and nitpick, you know, they try to like find some kind of reason, you know what I'm saying, to torture you. Like, I mean, the only reason why, you know what I'm saying, I couldn't like have love and romance and things that you know, especially spend like time, you know what I'm saying, like pretty much quality time with my, you know, with the ones that love me, you know, it's mainly because of this crime that's been happening the whole time. You know, they want that. You know what I'm saying? They wanted that. They always put people that they somehow, you know what I'm saying, lift up in certain places. And they do that in order to be like guards or gatekeepers from the purpose that God had wanted me to go through. So I mean, it's the absolute most satanic thing ever. Then after doing all this damage and watching me see them do this stuff to my life, knowing that I'm on the same intellectual level to understand that they are blatantly attacking God's purposes out of jealousy, and they are sabotaging and destroying every possible path and contingency I could go on purpose and intentionally, by, you know, when they see things of God, because they so jealous they couldn't handle that. So, you know, and seeing that, they also imply actually being able to be on a level to even say a word to me. Like, and that's beyond me. You know what I'm saying? Like, they really think that they can actually speak to me, period. Like, at all. You know what I'm saying? Like, we not even on, you know what I'm saying? Like, to do somebody that bad, you know, that you don't even know them, and you sabotage everything. You know, you things you perceive to be the part of God's original plan for the person, that you make sure that's definitely not an option for them. They've been doing that on purpose. I mean, I've been sitting there watching. It's the most insane thing ever. And then you can't just say it's like just one bracket of people or something, because it was crossing brackets, man. Like, it's weird. Like, it was, some was doing that. Then they like, it's like they'll pass it to somebody else, and then they'll pass it to somebody else, and then, you know, it's just like from any bracket. You know, it's just was a collective evil thing that was happening for a long time. And it's still not over now. You know what I'm saying? Because they still have much to lose by the truth coming out. And it's been a situation for the longest. So, I mean, I'm like, well, I'm a victim. And I got great powerful supporting details as to why my life should not be destroyed. The only reason why it was be in the interest of these influencers, you know what I'm saying, that's jealous of my talent. So basically, they try to like find some kind of way to make it okay to kill an innocent person for their talent. That's very petty of destructions, you know what I'm saying? I know. But that's weird, and it's the strangest thing ever. But they trying to do that, like literally, in the interest of jealous influences that worship Satan. You feel me? The synagogue of Satan. They worship Satan, so they trying to like find any kind of problem with something that's of God. So they have an excuse to destroy it. And whether or not they succeed, they already know that God is going to absolutely erase them from the face of the planet behind something like this. They know 100%. So that's why they, you know what I'm saying, they know. I think they understand. You know what I'm saying? They know what the Bible says. They understand what it means. They understand the context of it. You know. So I mean, they know what's happened for the last 23 years. And it has not been no coincidence. Nothing. You know. Even the last 7 years, even the last 3 years, especially with the attack on my life. The attack on my life personally. Yeah, man. So these influential figures, they not, you know, they look for reasons that I'm thinking like, we are not in the same headspace. You feel me? We are never in the same headspace. You feel me? My life don't revolve around a thing your mind does. You feel me? I'm not an immoral individual. You know what I'm saying? I don't have, you know, desires and things that you have. You know what I'm saying? I don't have the same meditations that you have. My mind don't be stuck on the same things that yours be stuck on, that you always, you know what I'm saying? You try to force on other people. You feel me? I'm not, like, we not the same. You feel me? We not the same. We are not alike, period. My eyes and my mind be on God things. You know what I'm saying? Not the things of the flesh. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, if it wasn't for the crime, you know what I'm saying, that you've been doing, you know what I'm saying, that they've been involved with, or this hate crime, or this jealous, fuel-based envy campaign, regime junk, you know, they've been implementing on my life, you know what I'm saying, for over 23 years, or just about that much, over 20 years, and, you know, especially the last 7, you know, if it wasn't for all of this that they've been doing intentionally, then, you know what I'm saying, I could, you know, I would have healthy, you know, I would, you know what I'm saying, I would be able to have healthy, you know, just to be with the ones that love me, like, and make it like good art and things for God, like, for, you know, it's a lot to it. It's a lot of different facets to it. You know, it would have been a lot different. I tell you that much, you know what I'm saying? And I could be with my wife and things like that, you know, of course, what God had appointed and things like that, you know, just, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm still, you know, I'm glad. I'm happy, you know what I'm saying? I mean, with my life anyway. But it's like they try to exploit the quote unquote common sense part of stuff. It's like they don't understand common sense on purpose. They were committed to misunderstanding because they're jealous of you. They trying their best to secretly do things with, you know, as if you're stupid. Like you don't realize what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? I already have did. You know what I'm saying? You feel me? And they try to constantly, they want to be able to gloat in it. And it's crazy, man. They've had this, it's just been a sick obsession, man, that they had ever since. They had a sick obsession with me ever since I was young. And then it's all stemmed from origins of one place. Like, it's weird. And it's not the place where I was. You know, and it's like they just had a primary fixation on me for decades. You know what I'm saying? And they've been following it ever since. Like, it just compound every time. And so they got an obsession with me, like a real obsession. Most people be like, run and hide and all this. Because, the law has no power over these people. You know what I'm saying? Like, these people, places and things, you know, the law has, like, literally no power over them. You know, they even could treat them, you know what I mean? They could, you know what I'm saying? They just seem invincible. But for something this big, God gonna give them something just as equally as big. And that's utter erasure from the face of the earth. So, I mean, when I'm out the earth, then they'll get what they want, but they'll be just beginning, you know, it'll be just the beginning. Because God go give them what they've been asking for 23 years. Facts. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it's been on purpose. You know, they've been doing all this on purpose to sabotage it. But yes, you know what I mean? I was supposed to be a blessing for a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? Friends, supposed to be a blessing for my wife. You know what I'm saying? And everything. But because of what you're doing and what you had already did, then that's already sabotage. But that don't include you or your life. You're just here. You know what I'm saying? They're just here. Like, they just here to make sure I don't be great. That's the only purpose for being in my life. Is making sure that my talent don't get recognition, so that helps the framing crime of some other people. You know what I'm saying? They're only here to perpetuate a crime. That's the only reason.